That's good.
Greetings, Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander. Greetings, Commander. Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander. This is Victor, your cockpit voice assistant, more commonly known as Kovas.
Bienvenue, Commandant.
Greetings, Commander. This is Jefferson, your cockpit voice assistant, or Kovas. Installed to provide systems information.
Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander. This is Archer, your cockpit voice assistant. Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander.
Greetings, Commander. This is Leo, your...
Greetings, Commander. This is Alex, your...
Scan detected. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1. Frameshift drive charging. System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Marlinist systems request emergency.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Food supplies. Pilots Federation alert. The newly settled Marlinist colonies have asked for urgent deliveries of foodstuffs. Millions of Marlinists have relocated to aid systems colonized for them by the Sirius Corporation, thereby reducing tension between the Empire and the Federation. They have asked Universal Cartographics to delay a census of the system's
Frameshift drive charging.
populations, while the refugees lay the infrastructure for their new societies. The Marlinist factions are holding democratic elections to select their leaders. However, the Transitional Parliament has
4, 3, 2, 1.
declared an emergency due to the shortage of food stocks. Community spokesperson Dr. Jenna Fairfax announced, "We are grateful to the galactic community and Sirius Corporation for providing homes. However, we need further help to feed our people in the short term until we can become self-sufficient. The more supplies we can
Fuel scoping.
stockpile, the faster our economies will develop. This in turn will allow us to
Oh my God,
offer
that's
greater
so much
commodity
better.
discounts, encourage the establishment of regular trade routes. Pilots are asked to deliver animal meat, fish, fruit and vegetables, and grain to Stillman Hub in the HIP 22550 system. As this system's defense forces are still being formed, the Free Marlinists of Carini have offered bounties on all wanted ships to secure these initial trade runs to the Marlinist colonies. Xenological samples delivered to Colonia. Pilots Federation alert. The Holloway Bioscience Institute has rewarded pilots who delivered living matter extracted from space-dwelling organisms. Many shipments of seed pod tissue samples arrived at Shack Station, from where they will be transported to the Holloway Biology Center on Colonia 7G. These will be used to replenish stocks used in the facility's experimentation program. Dr. Roy Casimir, chief researcher at the center, expressed his gratitude. These vital supplies mean that we can resume our studies on
Fuel system complete.
incredible organisms that float
God,
through
that
the
nuclear
void.
scoop's amazing.
Here at Holloway, we're making many breakthroughs in the field of xenobiology, some with intriguing commercial possibilities. The Holloway Bioscience Institute now plans to establish experimental habitats for
Frameshift drive charging.
vacuum lifeforms in the following systems: Eol-Pru PCKC9221, Eol-Pru LWLC899, Eol-Pru KWLC8301.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Eol-Pru PCKC9154. Pilots who contributed to this initiative can now collect their rewards from Jacques Station in the Colonia system. Core Dynamics Insider discusses Lakon takeover. An anonymous source within the shipbuilding corporation Core Dynamics has revealed details behind its hostile takeover of Lakon Spaceways. The
Frameshift drive charging.
Nameless Insider had previously stated that the acquisition of Lakon was the personal project of Core Dynamics CEO Jupiter Rochester. These additional claims were broadcast via Vox Galactica.
4, 3, 2, 1.
In the last few years, Rochester has purchased many companies based outside the Federation, such as Vodal. Lakon Spaceways is just the latest. It seems legal, but he manages subsidiaries directly and installs his own people there. Some say he's diversifying his family's private holdings
Fuel scooping.
rather than expanding the business. It's well known that several departments only follow Rochester's directives and operate in silos unconnected with the rest of Core Dynamics. Staff refer to them as Jupiter Division. Some offices even started using that name, like they're a separate company within a company. I've heard that some directors are unhappy with Rochester, but he's too well connected to ever get rid of. It's thanks to him that we have so many military contracts. As always, the rich get away with anything. Core Dynamics declined to comment on this statement. Naomi Landseer, former chairperson of the Lakon Spaceways Board of Directors, has asked the Independent Commission for Market Equality
Fuel scooping complete.
to investigate further. Date set for trial of Fleet Admiral Vincent. Fleet
Frameshift drive charging.
Admiral Lucas Vincent of the Federal Navy will stand trial on the 25th of January, charged with conspiracy to commit murder and treason. The Federal Attorney's Office has successfully obtained a grand
4, 3, 2, 1.
jury indictment against Fleet Admiral Vincent. He is accused of arranging the sabotage of presidential vessel Starship 1 in 3301 to assassinate then President Jasmine Ahmed. Although she was later recovered alive, hundreds died when the ship was destroyed in flight. These charges were brought following the trial of Rory Webster, a naval technician
Frameshift drive charging.
who was implicated in the failure of Starship One's hyperdrive system. Mr. Webster confessed his involvement, but offered a plea bargain by providing evidence that he was following clandestine orders from Vincent.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The subsequent arrest caused repercussions in military and political circles. President Zachary Hudson's long-term association with Vincent resulted in Republican congressmen losing confidence in his leadership and increased the Liberal Party's popularity. As a naval chief of staff, Fleet Admiral Vincent is the highest-ranking federal military officer to ever stand trial. Media interest remains intense, with much public speculation about corruption among the Federation's highest echelons. The trial will take place at the Federal High Court in Olympus Village on Mars, and is expected to last several weeks. Aegis supports Galactic Summit. The organization Aegis has expressed support for Utopia's offer to host a Galactic Summit for all three superpowers.
Fuel scooping.
Aegis was jointly formed by the Alliance, Empire and Federation to study the Thargoids and develop new methods of monitoring and combating their forces. Professor Albert Tesreau, head of research at Aegis, gave this statement. Humanity's focus on petty internal conflicts has blinded us to the existential threat of the Thargoids. Their recent horrific attacks should be a wake-up call to the fact that defunding has crippled Aegis's ability to offer protection. We strongly entreat our founders to come together and channel resources toward Aegis, and particularly into research. There can be no hope of coexistence with this alien species unless we increase our understanding of them. No
Frameshift drive charging.
official responses to Utopia's proposal have been made as yet. However, Prime Minister Hone, Princess Aisling Duval and Shadow President Felicia Winters have all signaled broad approval of the
4, 3, 2, 1.
idea. There are reports that many congressmen, councillors and senators are pressuring their respective leaders to attend the diplomatic conference. Singuru Pranav Antal has confirmed that the governments of independent systems will also be welcome to send delegates to the Galactic Summit. However, Utopia's primary aim is to provide neutral territory for the Alliance, Empire and Federation to debate policies.
Fuel scoping. Frameshift drive charging.
Xenological samples required by Colonia scientists. Pilots Federation alert. The Holloway Bioscience Institute in Colonia is offering high payouts for delivering samples from space-dwelling
Ready to engage. 3, 2, 1.
forms. The Holloway Biology Center on Colonia 7G is the organization's primary research laboratory, which specializes in xenological studies. Jacques Station, which is also
Taking heat damage.
in the Colonia system, has agreed to serve as the delivery point for this initiative. Chief researcher Dr. Roy Casimir outlined the requirements. There is still a huge amount to learn about the fascinating structures that grow within the vacuum of space. As our stock of specimens is running low, we require fresh tissue samples from living organisms to continue our experimentation program. I appreciate that our facility is located a considerable distance from the core systems, but we're willing to offer generous reimbursement for those who make the journey. Pilots are requested to extract any type of tissue sample, including pod mesoglea, from any type of seed pod. These are to be delivered to Jacques Station in the Colonia system. Thargoids wreak havoc in nebulas. Starports in the Coalsack and Witchhead nebulas have been damaged during full-scale Thargoid incursions. An appeal by Aegis for anti-Xeno support led to a concerted response from the galactic
Fuel scoping.
community. However, the Thargoid
Fuel scoop disengaged.
forces
Frameshift drive charging.
prove to be overwhelming and have attacked systems within the nebulas, with the loss of thousands of lives. Admiral Aidan Tanner, Chief Military Liaison of Aegis, broadcast this message. Despite the
4, 3, 2, 1.
heroic efforts of many pilots, the alien ships have resisted being driven from the Witchhead Nebula. Aegis's military capability and manpower are both severely limited as a result of curtailed funding from the Empire and the Federation. We have no choice but to rely on independent pilots and anti-Xeno squadrons as the first line of defense against the Thargoid threat.
Fuel scoping.
Core Dynamics purchases Lacon Spaceways. The shipbuilding company Lacon Spaceways has
Frameshift drive charging.
officially accepted a bid for ownership from Federal Corporation Core Dynamics. The proposal from Core Dynamics CEO Jupiter Rochester was ratified following a majority vote by Lacon's board of directors.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Many of whom were recently appointed following resignations demanded by shareholders. Trent Delaney, the new chairperson, confirmed the merger in a public statement. We are overjoyed that Lacon Spaceways will join the Core Dynamics family, thereby overturning the mistakes of the previous management and setting us on course for a bright future. The transfer of ownership will
Fuel scoping.
take another 2 months to formalize. In that time, it will be business as usual for the manufacture and
Warning. Temperature.
Ah, shit.
Warning. Taking heat damage.
the Federal Commerce Authority has approved the corporate takeover. However, the Independent Commission for Market Equality is still investigating reports of irregularities. The Council of Admirals has expressed concerns that a military supplier for the Alliance Defense Force should be owned by a federal defense contractor. Admiral Rachel Ziegler informed the Assembly, regardless of our cordial relationship with the Federation, security issues will inevitably arise if the Alliance Chieftain and her sister ships are constructed by a foreign power. The ADF is already woefully underfunded, and this places extra strain on our ability to defend our interests.
Frameshift drive charging.
Countdown to Alliance election begins. The Alliance has entered a period of political campaigning prior to the election of a new Prime Minister. The appointment of a head of government takes place every
Ready to engage.
6 years, with the forthcoming merger scheduled for the 25th of February 3307. Unlike the Federation,
Temperature critical.
faction of a member system. Electoral votes
System scan complete. Fuel
cast
sampling.
by these individuals rather than the public, but councillors tend to abide by the majority views of their constituencies. Edmund Mahone is the current Prime Minister,
Fuel sync disengaged. Frameshift
having been in
drive
office
charging.
since 3301 and is campaigning for re-election. If successful, he will be the first to serve more than one term. There are several rivals challenging Mahone, but the greatest
4, 3, 2, 1.
support is for Councillor Nakato Kane of Tionisla. She has become a rallying point for discontent among the Assembly, speaking out against the Alliance's increasing dependence upon corporations and other superpowers. At an emergency debate regarding the current wave of Thargoid attacks, Councillor Kane stated, "Can we be surprised
Fuel scripting.
that the Thargoid race is launching fresh assaults against us when we brazenly invade their territories? Our obsession with meta-alloys has turned us into the aggressor. This is not the same alliance that I pledged to serve. It's time for a new direction."
Warning.
What?
Hull integrity compromised.
Utopia invites superpowers to Galactic Summit. Simguru Pranat Antal, leader of the Utopia Commune, has proposed hosting a diplomatic conference for the governments of all three superpowers. The intention is to provide a neutral location to discuss key issues such as the renewed Thargoid attacks, the Marlinist refugee crisis, and hostilities between the Empire and the Federation. Details have been sent to the Alliance Assembly, Federal Congress, and Imperial Senate. Pranav Antal has also broadcast his invitation across all media channels. It is not Utopia's tradition to become involved with politics, but recent events are of great concern
Cannot comply. Cannot
to us.
comply.
Interstellar war, terrorism, alien incursion, and economic collapse are the new four dark horsemen that threaten humanity's future. We therefore offer to host a galactic summit where the Alliance, Empire, and Federation may debate these problems peacefully. My sincere hope is that the heads of state grasp this opportunity to resolve
Cannot comply.
their differences and create solutions that benefit their peoples. Utopia is an independent society with a focus on using highly advanced technology to increase quality of life. Should this galactic summit take place, it would be the first diplomatic meeting of all three superpower governments.
Cannot comply.
Thargoids attack Coalsack and Witchhead nebulas. Pilots Federation alert. Large numbers of Thargoid vessels are swarming through multiple inhabited systems, leading to urgent calls for assistance. In what appears to be a coordinated strike, Thargoid scouts and interceptors have appeared throughout the Coalsack and
Frameshift drive charging.
Witchhead nebulas. Local security ships have engaged them in combat, with report being overwhelmed. The Alliance has a considerable presence in these regions, with 4 starports recently constructed.
3, 2, 1.
Constructed in the Coalsack Nebula, but the Alliance Defense Force has not been able to mobilize in time to prevent some systems from becoming infested with Thargoids. Admiral Aidan Tanner, Chief Military
Warning. Taking heat damage.
Liaison for Aegis, made this announcement.
Alright, welcome to the
This is a
stream.
resurgence of Thargoid activity on a scale that we have not witnessed for a long time. Unfortunately,
Fuel scooping.
drastic reductions in funding and resources mean that Aegis is unable to provide adequate defensive measures. We urge support from independent pilots and anti-Xeno squadrons. It is critical that we prevent the Thargoids from dominating these nebulas and wiping out many thousands of people. Lakon Spaceways faces financial collapse. Economic instability has caused the value of shares in Lakon Spaceways to drop to unprecedented lows, placing the company's future in doubt. A hostile takeover bid by federal corporation Core Dynamics has raised concerns in the alliance over the loss of a major defense contractor. The Independent Commission for Market Equality has also reported irregularities in the recent transfer of share ownership, which may lead to criminal investigations. As a result, although Lakon Spaceways continues to manufacture and sell ships, its lack of reserves and a loss of confidence
Fuel scooping complete.
among investors may lead to insolvency and dissolution. Trent Delaney, the newly appointed chairperson of Lakon's board of directors, announced financial mismanagement and a litany of poor business decisions have led to this situation. Rest assured that once formal negotiations with our new parent company are complete, Lakon's stock will rise to new heights.
4, 3, 2, 1.
According to federal business analysts, there are indications of displeasure among Core Dynamics senior directors regarding this takeover. An anonymous source from within the corporation told Vox Galactica the Lakon merger is entirely Jupiter Rochester's project. Frankly, it's sheer greed. Our income has soared recently with new commissions from the Navy, but Rochester's grabbing hands are always reaching for something. He runs the departments that are loyal to him,
Frameshift drive charging.
like they're his personal kingdom. Coalsack Nebula terraforming project stalls. Sirius Atmospherics has delivered an update on its experiments to terraform a moon.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The worlds in the Coalsack Nebula. The subsidiary of Sirius Corporation is working closely with the Alliance to exploit the nebula's resources and pursue scientific investigation, including terraforming terrestrial planets with ammonia-based atmospheres. Project Director Dr. Maximilian North gave this progress report. Preliminary efforts at ecosphere conversion have delivered promising results, but our new techniques are not as effective as the simulations based on exploration data suggested.
Frameshift drive charging.
We are still a long way from fully transforming these worlds into habitable environments. Independent journalist Flint Firemaker Lafos commented on this via the Rewired network. Does anyone
No, whoops.
believe Sirius is there for the terraform?
Frameshift drive charging.
Of course they can't magically turn ammonia hellholes into paradise planets overnight. I know a cover story when I smell one. I wouldn't be surprised if they're deliberately trying to provoke the Thargoid.
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's for some reason. Maybe to capture some specimens. Where there's Xenos, there's credits. The Alliance has corroborated Dr. North's report, but also confirmed an increase in Sirius Corporation personnel and equipment arriving in the Coalsack Nebula. Alliance shelters new Marlinist refugees. Tens of thousands of Marlinist refugees have claimed sanctuary in Alliance space after emigrating from the Empire to avoid political persecution. In recent weeks, there has been a steady stream of ex-Imperial citizens arriving at Alliance systems, mostly traveling aboard small private vessels or in the holds of cargo ships. The humanitarian aid organization Safeguard Interstellar reported that accommodation and basic necessities are being provided. Alliance Interpol is running stringent security checks for evidence that members of the NMLA terrorist group are present. The initial wave of refugees,
Fuel scooping.
which fled to the Federation, are currently preparing to populate a number of independent colonies established by the Sirius Corporation. However, these systems cannot yet provide harbor to the continuing exodus of Marlinists from the Empire. Prime Minister Edmund Mahone publicly welcomed the refugees, but there has been some dissent in the Alliance Assembly. Councillor Nakato Kane, who is expected to be Mahone's main rival in next year's election, received widespread support
System scan complete.
for her views. Naturally, we must provide these poor people with emergency aid, but there are practical limits to our resources. It is not our responsibility to solve the Empire's domestic issues, and we have seen the Federation pay the price for sheltering terrorists. The Alliance cannot end up as the dumping ground for other superpowers' problems. Investors take control of Lakon Spaceways. A coalition of Lakon Spaceways shareholders has
Fuel
voted
scooping complete.
to replace several members of the company's board of directors with new management. At an emergency general meeting, investors put forward a resolution to remove selected directors in accordance with Lakon's article
Frameshift drive charging.
of association. The majority vote was in favor of this resolution. New appointees to the board have already stated that the rejected bid by federal shipbuilder Core Dynamics will be reappraised.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Peter Rochester, the corporation's CEO, has welcomed the opportunity for fresh discussions. Chairperson Naomi Lancier, who is one of the directors being replaced, told Vox Galactica, "It's no coincidence that the board members being voted out are the same ones who are against Core Dynamics
System scan complete.
owning the company. I am convinced that Rochester's people are
Fuel scooping.
bribing or threatening our shareholders to make sure this hostile takeover goes through. Lakon Spaceways is currently offering
Frameshift drive charging.
a 30% discount on sales of ASP Scout S, Diamondback Scout S, Keelback S, Type 7 transporters and Type 10 defenders. Core Dynamics has applied a 30%
4, 3, 2, 1.
markdown to sales of the Eagle Mark II and the Vulture, with a 20% discount for Federal assault ships, Federal dropships and Federal gunships. Terrorism respite as Marlinists prepare for new homes. As independent colonies are set up for Marlinist refugees, there has been a lull in terrorist strikes from the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army. In recent months, the paramilitary group
Frameshift drive charging.
launched multiple attacks across the Empire. Starports and administrative buildings were bombed and dozens of individuals assassinated, including Prince Harold and more distant members of the Duval family.
Ready to engage.
However,
4, 3, 2, 1.
the number of incidents has fallen drastically following successful operations by the Imperial Internal Security Service. After the Federal Security Service identified NMLA members aboard the Emigrant ships, these were transferred to us for interrogation. We obtained information that enabled us to shut down many terrorist cells, although there
Fuel scooping.
is evidence that the NMLA's network remains widespread. In related news, hundreds of thousands of Marlinist refugees are preparing to occupy new colony systems established by the Sirius Corporation. Mass transportation will take place early next year, overseen by Safeguard Interstellar. The Empire, Federation and Sirius Gov have all agreed that the settlements will remain fully independent. The refugee population has already begun to determine its future social structure based on the principles of Marlinism. A transitional parliament has been formed by community leaders such as Dr. Jenna Fairfax, Aaron White and Amrita Ross. Democratic elections for a representative government will take place once the Marlinist colonies are operational. Rackham's Peak Outpost marks galactic zenith. Pilots Federation alert. Multi-billionaire Zachary Rackham's new orbital outpost at the galactic zenith is now operational.
Fuel scooping complete.
Rackham's Peak is
Alright,
situated
welcome
in
to
the
the ship.
58832 system, one of the highest practical
Frameshift drive charging.
locations above the galactic plane. Its construction was funded by Rackham Capital Investments in conjunction with Universal Cartographics and other scientific research companies. Traders have
4, 3, 2, 1.
been welcomed, although the increased distances between stars and the galaxy's fringes mean that vessels with a high jump range are recommended. Rackham's Peak is currently offering high prices for deliveries of beer, liquor, wine, Bast Snake Gin, Centauri Mega Gin, Chateau de Gin, Irene and Pearl Whiskey, Eurasian Goose Beer,
Fuel scooping.
Silver Sea Rum, Indie Bourbon, Conga Ale, Lavian Brandy, Lycian Evil Juice, Saxon Wine,
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift
Fruited
drive
Queen and
charging.
Wadiello Coupe.
3 more chance.
Mr. Rackham officiated at the outpost's opening ceremony. Extravagant press party for media representatives and attending celebrities. He gave this statement.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Top of the Galaxy is now open for business. Rackham's Peak is a free port where everyone is welcome, a place where explorers and entrepreneurs can enjoy drinks while overlooking the entire Milky Way. Aim High Commanders. In related news, Rackham Capital Investments has agreed to pay a repairs bill for cartographics for the outpost
Fuel scooping.
sensor array control systems, which suffered fluid-related damage during the party.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Commodities delivered to build Marlinist colonies.
Frameshift drive charging.
Pilots Federation alert. Sirius Corporation has successfully gathered materials to construct new independent settlements for Marlinist emigrants. Both the Empire and the Federation accepted
4, 3, 2, 1.
proposal from Sirius Corporation to establish colonies for the political refugees who have been the cause of increased tension between the superpowers. CEO Li Yongrui made this announcement. And more, the galactic community's immense contribution has made this achievement possible. The ship's
System scan complete.
of atmospheric processors, auto-fabricators, structural regulators and water purifiers will be used to construct new outposts and settlements in 8 uninhabited systems. The Omega Merchant Command is now offering rewards at
Frameshift drive charging.
Ellis Gateway in the BD Plus 051146 system for all pilots who delivered commodities. Aaron White, a community leader among the refugees, commented on Vox Galactica.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I suppose we should be grateful that these colonies give us a chance of survival. But none of us wanted to set up our own kingdoms, only to remove the kings. And one day, we will. The Marlinist population is expected to be transferred from federal space to the new colonies in
That's
early
right.
3307.
I made it.
Engineers boost ship module upgraded. Pilots Federation alert. The effectiveness of engineers upgrading for ship modules will be boosted until the 7th of January 3307.
Let's
During
do a
this
scoop
time,
off this thing real
engineered
quick.
weapons and modules
Fuel scooping.
will receive increased augmentation for the same amount of materials. This will apply to every workshop in Alliance, Imperial, Federal and Independent space. Laurie Jameson, an engineer based in the Shinrata Desra system, provided details to Vox
Okay.
Galactica on how this collaboration came about. After the Eurybia incident, some of us contacted Liz Ryder and offered our support. It was horrifying how her expertise had been abused by the NMLA, leaving her
Holy
unfairly
shit.
maligned as a terrorist supporter. There were concerns that her situation might reflect badly on engineers in general. We soon established communication links between every workshop and agreed to offer a universal boost to upgrades. Hopefully this will remind pilots how much we value their custom and that we remain a trustworthy resource. Mel Brandon, one of 4 engineers in the Colonia region, commented, "It's about time that we all started talking to each other. Our services are valuable to the whole galaxy.
Fuel scooping complete.
We deserve better protection. Maybe we have to start protecting ourselves." New Marlinist systems request emergency food supplies. Pilots Federation alert. The newly settled Marlinist colonies have asked for urgent deliveries of foodstuffs. Millions of Marlinists have relocated to aid systems colonized for them by the Sirius Corporation, thereby reducing tension between the Empire and the Federation. They have asked Universal Cartographics to delay a census of the system's populations, while the refugees lay the infrastructure for their new societies. The Marlinist factions are holding democratic elections to select their leaders. However, the Transitional Parliament has declared an emergency due to the shortage of food stocks.
Okay.
Community spokesperson Dr. Jenna Fairfax announced, "We are grateful to the galactic community and Sirius Corporation for providing homes. However, we need further help to feed our people in the short term, until we can become self-sufficient. The more supplies we can stockpile, the faster our economies will develop. This in turn will allow us to offer greater commodity discounts to encourage the establishment of regular trade routes. Pilots are asked to deliver animal meat, fish, fruit and vegetables, and grain to Stillman Hub in the HIP 22550 system. As this system's defense forces are Marlinists of Carini have offered bounties on all wanted ships to secure these initial trade runs to the Marlinist colonies. Xenological samples delivered to Colonia. Pilots Federation alert.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Delacy Echo X-Ray Oscar. You have entered Imperial Sovereign Territory. Approach at a safe speed and comply with station regulations. Approval granted. Set down on landing pad 1-4.
Alright,
Clear for automated
I'll be back.
approach, Commander.
Bathroom.
Landing gear deployed.
Hello. Austin. Austin.
Landing complete. You may alight when ready. Enjoy your stay, Commander. Your comfort is our top priority.
It is with pleasure we are able to inform pilots that Imperial security is operational at these facilities, ensuring safety and decorum for residents and guests.
Austin, can you hear me? Hello?
We look forward to serving visitors and thank you for choosing our facilities.
If you have your mic on, I can't hear you, dude.
To refrain from entering or exiting without first receiving authorization.
And of course, magma worms.
Pilots are gently reminded that their cockpit operates under a time-slot travel.
God damn it.
Punctuality when arriving and leaving the facility. For the benefit of all guests to this facility, please refrain from obstructing access to access pads. Without first receiving authorization. The holographic document assistance system is for the benefit of all visitors to this facility. Please align on card assigned to your vessel only. Visitors are reminded that excessive speed in and around this facility is unwelcome and potentially dangerous.
And we're back.
There you are.
Oh, there's Chris. Darren in here yet?
No.
Oh.
Because I was like, hello? Is anyone there?
Yeah, my bad. I was in the bathroom.
Ah.
I finally made it to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
In real life or in the game?
Oh, in the game.
Speaking of, how did the interview go, do you think?
Good. I went off for my drug screen and background.
Oh, nice. I mean, they wouldn't ask them to be doing that if they didn't think you weren't going to be coming back. So, yeah, that's a good sign. Alright, fuck it. Oh yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that shit anymore, and I have to. I hate this game. I really do sometimes.
There you go. This is much better that they're fixed.
I'm having to deal with 3 wandering vagrants, and one of them's not even a fucking boss.
Fucking rip, my dude. Power plant. That's what I want.
And I'm about to die. I'm about to die hard. And even though I was outside that thing and behind cover. I hate that AoE thing. I truly do. Even though I was pretty sure I was in the clear because they were both in a cave and I was on the other side of it. Pretty sure I had a wall in between me. It was like, nope. So, how was your day
Good.
overall?
Yeah, good day. No issues on my end.
I would say for the most part, my day wasn't too bad. I was actually in my department for once.
Can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, really. I actually felt like I was getting some things done. And not just being sitting there bored out of my mind.
That's a pretty good little setup. Good. New ships.
You said ship, right? Okay, I thought from there for a moment, I thought you said chips. I'm like, where? And then my logic brain was like, you had to have been talking about ships, given what I know that you're playing right now.
I'm sure there's some missions in the area that'll be worth grabbing.
You know what we need? We need a pet mimic.
I mean, we do, though.
I mean, there's so many other horrendous, horrific things that we can be making pets. Why a mimic?
I don't know. That's cool.
I mean, we've already sided with the bad guy.
Bad guy's such a strong word.
I don't know how much I like the idea of fighting my wife's murderers.
Can we proceed when ready?
last Saturday
Oh,
when apparently our group got invited to a wedding, their wedding.
yeah. Yes, I do. Remember that.
Don't laugh too hard.
Fortunately, this place had no jobs for me.
Lame.
Yeah.
Scan detected.
I did get a new frame shift drive though. Like, gets me 15 light years away instead of like 12.
That's actually quite a improvement, actually.
And realistically speaking, it is a little bit of a good bump. Like, this thing is a ship, like, through and through. It's primarily meant to be a, okay. Like, this thing is just 100% a go-to, I'm trying to think. The ship is, like, a combat ship, but it's just also extremely fast.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to engage.
It can jump a lot further than most.
Drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Excuse me. Well, one of my only real gripes with Rex is the fact that he is just so slow, especially at first.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, though, they all start with the same movement speed. They just feel different.
I'm pretty sure Astrid does not start off at the same movement speed.
Who?
The poison spewing
Oh, Acrid.
Acrid. I don't know why I said Acrid. Anyways. Acrid. Alright, fuck it. I'm already at 5 minutes. Need to hope for the best at this point.
Alright, let's see what this place is in Charles Street.
Lacey Echo X-Ray Oscar. This station is under Imperial sovereignty. Kindly observe traffic regulations when approaching the facility. Access permitted. Set course for landing pad 1-4. You are clear for automated approach, Commander.
What the hell is that?
Landing gear deployed.
God damn it.
Safe and secure. Alight when ready. Our facilities are at your disposal.
That was just a straight botched run. Because I was getting no items. The only item I had was a backup mag and the new squid turret, whatever the fuck it's called. And that's all I was getting at the thing. And it was like, really? Give me something I could actually use.
Rip, dude.
But I just got